Hello, hello. This is Midday Repartee. I am Rotten Glory. We've got a good one lined up for you today. Joined by my co-host, Sim. How you doing?
Hello and good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning to you. How long have
Yep.
you been up now?
I don't know. 3 minutes?
3 minutes. Ready to go.
Yep.
This man rolls out of bed, ready for the fight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
A
fire
true
it up.
warrior.
Yeah,
That's
of
right.
course.
How is your battle with these little fuckers going?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah. I
How about
feel
you?
pretty good. I The physical aspect of it seems a lot easier than when I've tried it in the past. But again, it's the not going outside to take a break like every hour and a half or so. It's like I just feel like something's completely amiss. Like my day feels off because I'm not doing that thing. But the actual I really haven't gotten headaches. It doesn't physically feel too bad yet. I haven't been grumpy with people, as far as I know. How's that going for you? Are you a little bit grumpy?
Don't you fucking ask me that. I'm cherry. No, I'm good. I'm like the rainbow. No, I'm good. Honestly,
Good.
I've been good. Like the hardest one is like after supper, like after lunch and the goddamn morning coffee. Like right now,
Yeah.
like I'm drinking my coffee and I'm like,
I know, dude. The first cig with the coffee in the morning, such a
no.
big part of the ritual, man,
I
the
think
daily
I, I
ritual. So yeah, that's a tough one.
I think it's gonna be a wake and bake.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I can get this shared out now that we're started. So, I have no idea why, but yesterday's midday repartee um, got nuked by
Something
YouTube again after the
really?
fact, not during. It was after it was finished, and I really have no idea why. You know how the rules are on YouTube. This is what I'll say about that. Any platform or organization that doesn't have rules that are clear and concise, where people know what they mean and understand them, that's an organization or platform that's up to no good. Okay, they're not.
Yep.
They want to have the ability to maintain the vagueness so they can do whatever they want to whoever they want whenever they want, and don't respect it. YouTube, we all know it. This is the platform. We have to work within this construct. Their rules mean they're meaningless. They're vague, uh, completely open-ended. So it basically means at any time, for any reason, they can kill a video, kill your channel, uh, and that's just the way it is. We really, really need to start thinking about pushing ourselves onto a different platform, or even, I know it's expensive, it's a real difficult thing to do, but building our own platform, because this isn't going to last forever. The way YouTube is behaving.
Yeah. Library is evolving really, really well. And BitShoot is doing well too, but the comments there are a bit, you cannot control the comments there.
Mm,
So there are options.
right. I've been messing around with DLive, but Sim kind of brought something to my attention that I don't really like. It seems like the DLive setup is maybe siphoning off some computing power from people. I haven't looked into that myself, but it sounds like that might be the case with DLive. I'm not sure.
Yeah, my computer slows down whenever I try to
Yeah,
look up
I hate D Live
data.
because I hate D Live. I researched why it keeps bugging, and it's because they use your computer power to mine uh, bitcoins.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
even
that doesn't.
library does that. But
Right.
it does not slow your computer down. They need to just balance it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, forgot to say hello to you, Samir. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm
Good.
doing
A little bit
great.
fired up, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes,
Dilemma really
just
was damn.
Yeah. Gargoyle, how you doing, man? Um,
Hail, how you doing?
yeah, I think it might have been the Karen versus Karen thing, even though there was literally no violence involved in it. I can't fathom what the cause would have been.
The one Karen did say white power, but
You can't say that. I mean, it's just getting absurd. Like I said, if you don't have clearly defined rules that people can actually make sense of and make a point to follow, it just means that you want to oppress people, that you want to censor people
Yeah.
whenever you want. You don't have to explain it. We all know this is
But
what's
it's
going
weird.
on.
It's
All the
it's
platforms are the same. Twitter, all of
yeah,
them.
and it's weird because you can say one but not the other. You can say the white one. You can't say the white one, but you can say the black one.
Right.
you can look up exploited detail of a male getting Brazilian waxed on YouTube.
If you were
Mhm.
so inclined, yes.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing in the world.
You could also find like girls that are naked and putting some body paint on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know it's there really isn't any actual reason or rationale or logic to it. You're just flirting with that line all the time if you're on YouTube, unless you're just you're taking the stance of I'm never even going to get close to that line, which I think is what's the fun in that?
Oh, you
uh,
heard what happened in New York last night?
what's that? I don't
There's
think
a
I did.
video of it. A shit ton of Orthodox Jews went out to the streets and protest,
Okay.
took off their masks and burned them.
Oh
And
wow.
of course, who was it? One of the numbnut mayors ordered all the police to go get them and arrest them. And it literally looked like a reenactment
Oh my.
Nazis taking over Germany.
Oh no.
No boy.
Oh, way to go,
Uh,
New York. Oh wow. Yeah, I
These
haven't I
people,
haven't seen that.
I'm sorry.
these people do the same thing they accuse other people of. Man, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the one calling the other ones the bad word or acting like it. It's weird. It's like it's like learning history all over again.
Yeah, the
Yes.
irony is so thick with all like right from the get-go with cancel culture, SJW. It's the irony is so thick, and it seems like they're unable to see it. They can't see the irony,
Like,
or maybe they can, and it's just
you know,
part of their game. I don't really know.
it's like the stuff that's happening right now. It's like we learned about this in high school. Why is this happening now? It's weird. We should know better,
We really should.
right? At this point,
Speaking of people who should know better, look at that guy on the left. He looks like he never had consensual sex in his life.
Now
oh,
that
dude.
now come on,
Be
is that how we're gonna
nice.
start this off?
Be
well,
nice.
Yeah, no, that isn't. I will say this. I mean, I don't watch Dan's stuff all the time. It usually, if it has some kind of crossover or directly relates to CG in some way. But I do respect that he at least has the balls to have EVS on his show, right?
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he did.
His
I think
motivation for having him on, I question highly. Was
I-
this really an interview or an attack?
Dude.
Well, we'll talk about that. But I do. Most people won't touch EVS with a 10-foot pole, depending on
Dude.
who their friends are.
I think it was more like I said it, and now I should not have done it. 'Cause that's how the entire thing pretty much started. Because you even made a little speech saying, "I just already lost a friend because of this."
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's how it started. And look, I came in and I was like, oh, that's interesting. A bit like you, dude. I'm like, okay, I'll even freaking get a sub to his channel when I came in. I'm like, I'll give it a try. The guy seems to be open-minded, and that's what I like. I don't care which side you're on. I just like people that are open-minded and we can have a discussion. I don't care. I don't care who you like to be in your room. I don't like who you vote when you go to the voting thing. It's who
This
you
guy
are,
wasn't
right?
open-minded, though. If you
But
call
he
that
wasn't.
open-minded,
That's my point. That he wasn't. Like he started coming in and he was not even listening. He was just covering every point from 2017 to now, trying to get it. Like if somebody came to him and go, "You're fuck if you go through this unless you try to make him look bad." At least get 1 point. And the entire thing that it was through the entire freaking thing is, I'm pissed at you because you guys are being cowards and meanies and suing Big Wade and having a crowdfund. You need to put that. You need to put a stop to this now.
You're
And that was
selling.
pretty much it all night. And I'm like, seriously, guy. I'm like, I thought that was going to be an interesting conversation. I don't care about opinion. If as long as you guys have a conversation, you can be pissed, you can be against CG. If you're being good and level-headed in a cool conversation,
Correct.
I would be following that guy and I'd still be listening
Right.
to his.
Yeah, up
Right.
until this,
I just
up
didn't know,
until
yeah.
I saw this, I agree, man. Up until I saw this, I'm not going to say that I liked the guy or that I was like thought
Nope.
he was completely fair, but at least like I felt like he had some flexibility, he had some open-mindedness
Yep.
involved. After this show, it
I'm
became
done.
very clear that he's just trying to score points with the right crowd on
Yep.
this one. And that's it.
Hey, welcome, Lucius. How are you?
Hey man,
Yes. It's awesome
I'm
to have
doing
you
all
on the
right.
show, man. Are
And
you
nothing.
Yeah.
And
are you
it's
just like
nothing personal.
are you sneaking this in, or you got
I got
to
the
stay
day
at
off.
home?
I got the day off. Yeah.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I didn't see this interview. Is this the same dude who was like ragging on publishers, the comic shop owners, and then
Yep.
like turned 180 when he talked to them, like
Right.
being all sweet and gentle?
Yep.
Yeah. This is clearly just like some like guy snake in the grass. Like he'll say everything you want to hear, glad handing when
And
it's all in favor of him, and then come around and bring fire and brimstone when it's convenient. I wouldn't trust this guy
and
like, to have an
the
opinion.
and the only points that he had was like a retailer type of point of view on the thing that he would keep bringing, like price, right? Lower down quality so I don't have to pay that much, right? And I don't know. And even at the end is like somebody asked him how many CG book did you read, or in the and they're like, I didn't read one. If you want me to read them, send them to me. I'm like,
Right.
Go fuck yourself.
yeah, pretty much. Like,
Crack
with all due
Croc.
respect,
Crack Croc, who I'm not familiar with, first time seeing that name. I like the name. The coward is the guy standing up for himself against a bully, not the guy who goes around people's backs to try and pressure with fear. Makes sense.
Fucking A.
Obviously, thick with sarcasm here, and we'll get into that. It's a little bit later. I've got like a few points in this thing that I'd like to. We'll listen a little bit, react to it. But the thing about the Mark Wade lawsuit is probably the pinnacle of asinine when it comes to this show, in my opinion.
dude, he was all proud, Mr. Wade, of opening his mouth, dude. They even fucking went on social media going, we fucking stopped it. They were fucking bragging about it. He pulled out his big influential power, right, to crush somebody that had never published nothing just to win a point because he said, well, if you're not happy, do a comic. And he did. And I was like, oh fuck, he's proving me wrong. And he had
Right.
to go there and go pull his big heavy influence and just smack fucking Zach with it and go, you're crushed. And just went doing the victory dance going, yeah, you can't do nothing. Yeah. And now
Right.
he's doing something. We all fucking backed him. And now we have that guy there with his Coca-Cola t-shirt going, you can let me fucking meaning. You coward.
Right.
And I'm like, come on.
I was going to mention that too. It's kind of apropos, right? That he's wearing a corporate Coke shirt.
Yeah.
Seems fitting. I want to give a shout out to people in the chat. Pastmaster Dan, Crack Croc, Smiling Bandito, Hatch, Tatsunami, Captain Fuckhead. Appreciate you guys being here. If you can, like and share out the video. Let's get some people in here. I think this is going to be a really solid discussion today, because not only will we be reacting to some of the craziness in this show, this interview, I think it will spark good conversation about CG and where we're headed. So I'm going to play this first little bit here, and I've got it on 1.5 speed. I think that'll work. Let me know if it's too fast. And also, make sure I have this unmuted. I love that feature that StreamYard added. That's really nice.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, Ethan. I got a lot of bones to pick with the ComicsGate movement in general, and with some of your actions in particular. But I'm not above talking to you. When I have questions, I went out there. I was kind of talking to you before the show, and
He's not above talking. He's not above talking to him.
I can't take this seriously. He sounds like a damn chipmunk now.
Yeah, and dude, It's like, hey, I want to have a conversation. No, you don't have. He's not trying to have a conversation. He's just trying to bring up points and going, "You're a big meanie."
Yeah, exactly.
Say you're not. And dude, every time Ethan was expressing a point, and I'll say this right now, Ethan freaking handled himself and him like a freaking champ. I don't know. I would have
Yeah.
probably told him off
Absolutely.
like twice.
Yeah,
In there.
I do not envy
No.
EVS's position when it comes to this kind of thing, but every time I've watched him step up to the plate and deal with something like this, it's
Yep.
always he
It's
always hits it
impressive.
out of the park, man.
Yep.
Keeps his cool. Smiling Bandito, the
I think
attitude I
it's
hated
his threads,
seeing.
man. His
Mhm.
threads
What-
give him power.
Right.
Yeah.
Shahin justifying the mainstream while using CG values as though the mainstream exemplified them. Right. Yeah. It was. Okay, so was that too fast? Should I slow it down a little?
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
hard
Yeah.
to keep seriously.
I'm so used to listening to
Wait.
things at like 1.75 that.
Yeah, me
We
too.
keep expecting the music to start. Dun, dun,
I just
dun,
like
dun,
that
dun.
Ethan came appropriately dressed for the occasion. Look
He
at
sure
him.
did.
He is, yeah,
As always.
representing.
But I love that, it was nice of Dan to not think that it was beneath him to have to speak to EVS. That was right out of the gate. You make a comment like that, and it's just automatically revealing. He's showing his hand already, like he's superior, right?
Representing like the Scottish and military heritage from the U.S. and Canada, dude. I thought it was champ. Go ahead, take him off, take him out.
Right.
Part of my dilemma here was I went out and I looked for info on this ComicsGate thing. I'd kind of been out of comics for 10 years. I'm not a gamer, so Gamergate didn't really mean anything to me. So when I started hearing about ComicsGate, I started getting a little confused, and I started looking out there, and
You're still confused.
I'm very critical of media. And when I read news articles, every article I saw was heavily slanted one way or another. I found very little objectivity there. I dug and dug and dug. I talked to a lot of people a lot of people who know you, and just went out there and just combed some opinions. Most people said don't talk to him. Like he's a liar. He will twist what you say. He's very litigious. He might sue you. There were a lot. His legion of fans will harass you. You and your friends. He'll make your channel a bad place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, would you? Is this harassment? Do you think just going over this video and discussing it would that fall under the category of harassment?
No,
No.
us laughing like me right now, laughing because I can't hold it back. Yeah, probably.
Right.
He'll probably consider harassment.
No, I'm sorry, but like I said before, all he came off to me was as somebody that's just trying to play. Look, even pulled off the. Oh, now you're saying that you're the victim, and he was, dude. He turned from trying to be like a mature conversation to a teenager on live stream, and I called him out on it. I even sent a super chat. Like, what the fuck? You went from one side to the other, and then like, see what you said there, Ethan? And Ethan's like, what?
Right. Yeah.
He kept
it
bringing
looks like-
stupid points, and it was like everything's about. I heard this, I heard that. I was like, dude, it's like you haven't heard of CG for like 3 years. You were on Ethan's stream not too long ago. Why'd you
Yeah,
keep
right.
playing like all I saw was somebody trying to play the dumb card, to.
Yeah, exactly. That does seem like a tactic. Just
I'm
kind of
trying
like,
to be
I'm going
nice
to
here.
pretend like I don't follow this daily to see if there's something I can take advantage of. I mean, come on, let's get real here. I don't
It's one
know.
of those situations where he's pretending the internet doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah, but dude, it's I just think it's really disingenuous, dude, that you start like going, oh, you get technically like, I hear you guys are saying bad things to other people. Then dude, it's like it's the same thing of like, but you did a GoFundMe to attack somebody because I think it's cowardly. I'm like, I think it was cowardly to act in the background and do this thing too. And who started what? Who's the big meanie first? Is that how it's really gonna be? Is that the conversation you're supposed to have? Is that an actual debate? No.
What I'm really surprised by this entire conversation is, like, he had an idea of where he wanted the conversation to go. He wanted to talk about the comic book industry. He wanted to talk about the lawsuit, but he didn't pick any points from that. He didn't have any data of the numbers to prove his point, and he did not have anything from the lawsuit either. It was like,
Right.
this is something I read. This is something I read. I don't know how to do numbers. I mean, come on, man. At least solidify your own position. If you're going to argue with somebody, if you're going to have a debate, this was not supposed to be a debate. This was supposed to be an interview. It was kind of like a gotcha moment. It was a kind of disingenuous. Like
Yeah.
you're bringing
Yeah, I
in a
feel
guest,
that way too,
and
for sure.
if you're going to debate somebody, like tell the guy, okay, I'm going to debate this and this topic. He could have made things easier for himself. Like, okay, Ethan Van Sciver, we're only going to talk about the comic book industry. We're not going to talk about all this other stuff. He could have made things easier for himself. He could have made things easier for himself.
Right. But that wasn't
He
his.
didn't.
It feels like there was a very pointed agenda to having this show. That became very
I
clear the longer it went on. And the thing is,
I mean, it really gave me the idea that maybe he did want to have an interview,
right.
but that he really got berated, that he got some people, because he really wanted to impress Wade at a certain point. That's how it gave me a feel like,
That's
some
possible.
people went in and, Wade or something, get him to do this and then, get him to. That's how it seemed, because at a certain point he even seemed desperate, and he tried something. Ethan would go, "Oh, no, that's disgusting," about the racism jokes. Though that it goes, "No, that's not funny." And oh, I'm so sorry. And he started like validating, trying to, and I'm like,
oh yeah, I remember that part.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's so obvious now.
I will say, like, again, I don't want this to be just a straight up attack on this individual. I will say this: I think he really, sincerely, from his perspective, how he absorbs this information, and maybe all the people he interacts with, he really believes his positions. I think for him, the idea of the Wade lawsuit with Meyer, I think he sincerely, truly believes his position to be so clear, so obvious to him, that he doesn't understand how anyone could see it differently. I don't think he's lying about that. You see what I'm saying? Because it would be different if he was just straight up lying. But I do think that he fully believes what he's saying, which, depending on your perspective, makes it even more scary.
Dude,
but
even
at least
when
he's not a liar.
Even
No,
when
he's lying.
he went
You
as
think he's
far
just
as
straight
fucking
up lying?
Yeah, he went as far as calling Ethan a liar in public, multiple times, saying that he's been disingenuous, checking if the campaign was already out. He said it needs to be out now, and that was the only focus he had, was getting Wade off and talking about Zach, leaving him the fuck alone, and it's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah,
Dude, you fucked up. You fucked up. You're in court. If he didn't have a fucking court case, he would not be in court.
Yeah. And to add on that, he keeps on doing these baseless facts. Like he said this one time, this one comic outsold him. This I think it was a manga.
The dogs.
And then he's like, well, the viewers have to find the information about that.
That gets back to
your
I guess
responsibility, motherfucker. You brought it up. It's not your viewers' responsibility to do it for you.
Yeah.
I think we should play the video and see where it goes.
Let's keep it going. Thank you,
forget,
Samir. Yeah, we're going to hit on all these points.
There's just one thing that you don't forget. He started the entire stream by saying, I have unblocked all of CG in my chat. Meaning that usually we're all blocking his goddamn chat.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing right out of the gate, you can tell.
What is that? Yeah.
You understand where this is going to go and where he's coming from right out of the gate. He shows his hand, like I said.
Yes,
let's listen a little bit more of this.
So, what do you think about those statements?
I think it sounds like a lot of people were trying to get you to not talk to me and find out the other side of the story. I think that they've already worked very hard to establish their partisan, one-sided view of the story, using their friends in the media, using each other, using cancel culture, using threats, scare tactics to get you to not question what's actually gone wrong in comics. And
well, let me say this: there were no threats, there were no scare tactics. There was concern. There were people who questioned my motives somewhat, but those were people that didn't really know me.
Okay, what do you guys think about that?
bullshit, because you just started like 5 minutes before this saying I already lost a friend in a nice little presentation, sitting like he was in an Oprah show. That I already lost a friend because of this, and now he's saying I didn't get any threats.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Not
dude,
really.
you could tell by the way he starts backpedaling and really thinking he's got to choose those words very carefully because he knows he's about to contradict himself, right? You can see it play
Yep.
out. It's very clear.
Right in the beginning of this interview, he shows his belly. I
Yes.
can be manipulated by concerned trolls.
Yeah,
It's-
right.
Uh-huh.
Looks like you got a backer there, Sim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hatch 450.
Oh, thanks, Hatch.
Very nice. And I do have a link to Tales from the Knotverse in the description below, along with many other links. So,
And sorry, if you're not a fan of trading cards, there's trading cards that come with it.
yeah, we apologize for that.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
Venetian.
How
Venetian
dare you
fi-
give me more shit? I don't want you more shit.
How dare you
I personally don't like William Cover. I think that stuff like that's what killed comics back then. Like, really? I like how Ethan's like, really?
Right. Venetian Fabio says he was following someone else's script. He looked like he was forced, as if he had
Yep.
proved something to someone. Sure, I mean, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We can just kind of evaluate what we see on the surface. And
You can
it does appear like he was very driven and motivated to get
Yep.
jabs in on EVS in a way that was pretty underhanded. So yeah.
And you can see the pressure. His skin color matches his Coca-Cola T-shirt.
well,
Under
probably
pressure.
before the show. Oh, I'm sorry. Drinks, cans.
all right. I'm gonna jump to another part in this real quick.
Oh.
All right.
Ah, damn advertising. Really?
And I thought Dan's choice of the baseball here. I guess that's supposed to mean insider baseball. Is that what?
No, it was the ball, the balls on your side, I think, because it started when he won the point of the marketing or something, and then it just dropped. He just never fucking brought it up again.
And Sci-Fi Snob says, "Don't worry, I will burn the trading cards to heat my home." Well, hey, just so they don't go to waste, you know. That's fine. All right, let's. This part is about. I think Dan's really kind of going at the pricing, the pricing model of CG and Cyberfrog. So let's have a listen.
Yeah.
Initially, you get a beautiful J.
Oh, sorry guys.
When you get
It's
in-
okay. While you cover this, you know. Oh boy.
What's that?
48-page sequel to Blood Honey. But because the book has raised at this point in excess of $1 million, nearly $1.1 million on this book, we've added to your $25. Your $25 now gets you
You do that.
3 comic books. You get a book called Cyberfrog Heartsick Horror, which is going to be included with your order. You're going to get the Salamandroid Color Zine Ashcan. You're going to receive 6 trading cards, 3 of which are chromium, 2 giant
See,
stickers.
he's not even
A
listening.
beautiful keychain. You got to see these keychains that I've made. They're coming. They're
Well,
thick
I've seen you've
as
got
shit.
a lot of
And the PVC toy.
Cyberpunk merchandise. I've seen the toy or the coin cam.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
coin, yeah.
He wants it. You got to make sure. Somebody was like, make sure you get in the coin
Mhm.
campaign, which EVS has already.
Yeah.
Look, I don't. There are people over the last year, whatever. There are people that, you know, don't care for EVS. I understand that. You know, I don't think it really matters where you stand on that particular issue. You know, if you're not a fan of EVS and you're not investing in his projects, that's totally fine. That's cool. I get it. That doesn't mean that he doesn't do this very well. Stand up to people like Dan very well. I think he does his job well. I respect how he goes about it. So I can kind of separate the two. You know,
You know,
whatever you make.
he's gonna be in trouble with his other side of friend. He's doing the KKK's logo sign right there. He's gonna be canceled. now.
Right.
He's gonna be canceled now.
But I love how Dan did not react to anything EVS was saying about the extra comics that you would be getting
Mm-hmm.
with your $25 investment, he just let those slip right on by because he wants it to be all about the comic, right? So he ignored that part, doesn't fit the
Yeah.
narrative. But when he gets to the keychain, that's when he's going to drop his little attack, right?
Yeah, you did that all the nonstop.
Well, you know, I was so glad they did that expose because I like to know how mayonnaise reacts with all my currency, man. Like, I like to know that it doesn't take it away, take off the ink, all that stuff. Like,
See,
I was
Yeah.
like, what is this? Like, you guys like dousing it in mayonnaise to take off the ink? Like, what fool would do this in their like practical mind? Yeah, and it's funny that like he wanted to act all ignorant up front, and it's like the one thing he had to get in there was the Cyberfrog coin thing, which was like,
you wouldn't if you weren't following EVS kind of religiously, you wouldn't even know it existed. would you?
exactly.
Dude, the worst thing is that it's so easy, and he's so petty about it, right?
Yeah.
You see his face is like, but every time he tries to bring up the coin or one of those points, you see him with his. Now he doesn't look pissed. He has that smirk in his face, and he has that little, I got you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. And he goes, nope. Oh fuck. And then you see his face going, fuck. I need to figure out something else. What else? Wait for the opening. He's not really listening. He's just waiting for the opening.
Right. Yeah,
But-
I agree, man. I agree.
He owns a
It's-
comic book store, didn't he? I
He
mean,
used to. He does not now.
Wouldn't all that be collector's items? I mean, wouldn't he have the Cyberfrog coins on display? I mean, I
Yeah,
remember my comic book store had like posters of Brandon Lee as the Crow after he died for years.
Exactly.
And you know, there was never like 80-page or 100-page graphic novels that get sold for $25. That never fucking happened, right? Never.
Right.
Never.
Of course. And it's not even so. Let's listen to a little bit more of this because it's really he really tries to insult CG's model here.
Yep.
So I'd like to get into it.
Campaign.
Mhm.
I've seen you've got like many fundraisers going on Indiegogo and
Fundraisers.
But
Go
these are
fund-
free. These are free. Let me. These are free bonuses. You understand now? Now that you've given me $25 for a book, you're now receiving 3 books, 6 trading cards. You're getting 2 big stickers. You're getting a keychain, a Cyberfrog keychain, and you're getting a Cyberfrog PVC toy.
I get
That's
it.
a good deal.
I get
So-
that. I mean, I don't like trading cards or toys. I like comics. So like, let me just ask you,
You can go fuck
the
yourself.
Cyberfrog
I'm
Blood
fine
Hunt.
included comic
If
books.
this was
as
in a,
toys.
if this was in a
Yeah. Right.
Me.
Right. And again, he makes no mention of the additional free comic books that you will
Nope.
be getting for your initial. He doesn't bother to go into that, does he? Because it doesn't. It's not compelling to what he's trying to say. That's what I don't respect about his approach on this. I just don't think that it's genuine.
I mean,
retail establishment, and I recognize this is you're saying it's apples and oranges. It's different. But what would you expect to pay for this in a retail store?
I would pay $50 or $60 for that in a retail store.
$50 or $60.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I would have said 15 to 20 to be actually like, you know, but I think on that point Ethan wanted to go, you know what? Bitch slap. Poof.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I think it's funny. I think
It's
I
about
think it was a smart thing to do. But here the problem with it is it's a loaded question anyway because when you're talking about buying a comic in a retail space, you literally cannot compare it to what it means to crowdfund, there is so much involved in that, the context of crowdfunding and what that means, that to try and compare it to a book you pick up off a shelf in a store,
But that's-
it really isn't even, it's not something that you can logistically even do.
But that's what I think is stupid. It's how you know it's disingenuous. It's one of the main things they all try to do. It's they attack the crowdfunding comics because let's say CG Book, we're not the only one doing it, right? And comparing it to the pricing of big freaking corporation that buy multi-thousand copies of a book and pay them 15 cents, while we still pay them $10.
Now,
Hail to
weren't
the Boner
weren't all the prints of the Cyberfrog, the initial run, signed by EVS? So I wouldn't say, if he's saying $50-$60, that's off.
Oh, right.
Like it's a chromium book, signed.
Yes.
Like, and that's
Limited.
not all you got with it. It was all the extras as well. But I mean, it was 64 pages, chromium cover. Like that's kind of premium format. Plus, it was autographed. Like you're kind of coming out ahead for $25 plus shipping on that deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we're so accustomed to getting these books signed by creators that I think we kind of it's just something we take for granted at this point. But there's a real actual value attached to that, where normally you would have to get that from go to a convention, stand in a line, and pay money for that. It's just part of what CG does. So
yeah, but and you're also talking about a guy that's attached to retailers, convention, to people that make money reselling and doing that stuff. So obviously, they're not gonna like the new model that they're not part of.
Right.
Now, someone from the other side of the globe, I am completely alien to all this. All the signing culture and the convention and all that. This stuff never happens. The only reason I was attracted to ComicsGate was that the books were signed by the artist. He was giving you a piece of his dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, no one does that. No, even if you buy books from Amazon or anywhere else of any other artist, you don't get that. You don't get, and the conversation you can have with these people, like it's like a convention happening every day. It's a convention happening every day. It does not happen. It just does not happen.
Look, just me with Blood Hunt, right? Everybody that back a physical book got a sketch card. How much do you think those sketch cards go for? You technically got your book for free.
Yeah, it's a really valid point, and it's why you can't. It is just completely disingenuous to try and compare a crowdfunded book with when it's done right, because I will say there obviously mainstream companies are going to start trying to do this crowdfunding thing. They already started doing it, and they're doing it wrong. They're doing it poorly, which doesn't, that's a whole separate issue. But when crowdfunding's done right, it really cannot be compared to buying something in a store. It just can't be.
Nope.
So.
No, you get something direct from the creator. Usually you get it signed. Sometimes you get a little sketch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of you guys, you'll learn who's buying your books the most, who's your regular customers, who your highest paid customers are.
So let's
see it right there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's finish out this little bit.
Off the shelf, brand new the day it comes out.
Yeah, most definitely. It's the best comic book I've seen in ages. Comic books that are on the shelves right now, 22 pages full of material that not 22, 20 pages full of material that's been rushed. With a political bias inherent in the book, and they're selling for $6 now. What is going on? What is going on with comics? That the quality is declining. They're insulting the audience. And here you have a book that looks like it's off the showroom floor. Cyberfrog Blood Honey looks like a Ferrari compared to comics that are out right now. It contains the best work that I've ever done. There's no insulting political message in it. It's chapter 1 of an ongoing series, Dickensian kind of, serialized comic.
So you can see he's not even listening.
No, I don't think so. I think he's not having a conversation.
No,
he's waiting he's waiting to inject his pre-planned point or attack into this.
Oh, waiting for somebody to whisper him the next question or the next hit spot.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, because that's one of the things I've noticed. I brought it up because you see him often reading the screen. Like he'll be like, and then you see him looking at the screen. He's like, oh, I got it. Oh, yeah, good one. Type of thing.
Yeah.
This is a good point. To be honest, Dan is looking at CG from the point of view of a comic book store industry view. Yes, of course he is. We get that.
And he's not open to listening to the other side of the business idea. That's the thing.
The problem is, I don't see him taking the store part seriously, because when he's talking about the coins and the swag and stuff like that, that shit is ignorant. A lot of store owners, they keep that stuff, definitely spare stuff to give to their customers, especially customers that come in spending $50 on books and shit like that. They'll be like, hey, you like the swag? I remember when I was a kid, I spent money at the comic book store, and the comic book store owner gave me the first issue of Cyberfrog for free.
Right.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
So it's like just a copy of Cyberfrog 1 goes for like $100 to $200 on eBay, right? So imagine if that guy had 2 copies of the first Cyberfrog with all the merch, with all the freaking cool that came with it, put that in a nice little baggage and put that on the shelf. You telling me that he couldn't sell it?
weren't there retailer packages?
Yeah.
Weren't there like buy 10 copies of a book
Mhm.
and get that?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if they were like cut out. You
Dude,
could sell it
any
secondhand,
yeah,
marked up.
you're right. And any retailer could have invested in the the blood honey box, right?
Isn't that
The
what
honeycomb.
happened? That's why they like sold it out. Like
I'm
there was
sure
just, like
it's
a dude
smart.
that scooped them up. Like
Obviously, it's a
60 of
smart
them.
business move. There's no doubt about it. It's highly collectible because the numbers are smaller. That's part of the reason it's actually built into the success is that it's a smaller number of people willing to pay a higher price for a premium experience and to have access to the creator, to get to hang out with them. It's all one big package here. And if you don't understand that, if you don't get that, then move along. It's not
Dude,
for
it's
you.
like it's like not only can you give access to our book, but you have access to our bullpen.
Hmm.
Meaning,
Yeah,
we're
I
all
love that.
sitting we're all sitting here in one freaking studio type of thing. It's like a big giant virtual studio. We're all here working, and you have access to us pretty much 24/7.
Yeah.
And it works the other way around too, because it's something that we also appreciate, having interaction with our fans.
Yes. And to speak about a fan's purchase or backing of a project without also speaking to the fact that they get to interact with the other fans and the creators via YouTube, social media in these unique ways, you can't separate those things because the value is it's all interwoven together. And I think Sci-Fi Snob, it seems like he's constantly reviewing notes and making sure, he's got to find those entry points where he can get something in there.
Yep.
For sure.
You're just waiting for that. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. So he kind of goes.
It's beautiful and highly collectible, highly prized.
So I feel that's a little disingenuous. Like, I mean, honestly, like I was a retailer, so I know what a book sells for in a store. I'm saying if I sold this book now, like if I saw it on the shelf and it had it had a barcode and a price, and I picked it up and it said $50 or $60, there is no way I would buy it for that. I wouldn't buy it for $25 either. I'm not trying to cast aspersions on your comic. I think it's well drawn and certainly well produced. But
that's why I think he's being disingenuous, because like I wouldn't even pay $25 for it. Yes, you would.
I paid $200 for the honeycomb box, another $125 for the warts and all shit, and $95 on a mint condition first issue of Spawn, and God spent nearly $50 on Runes of Ragnar. Shit.
Right.
So,
Past
I don't
Master
know
Dan,
who's he
you'll
talking
be.
about.
I know. Well, and of course we can't ignore the irony that he's holding a copy of it in his hands.
Oh,
Did he not buy it? I'm just curious. I don't know.
somebody must have mailed it to him. Oh,
I don't
Sam,
know.
I spent $69 on that first, and what was a tier to get the sketch card for Blood Hunt? I don't know.
Sorry, I just came back. The kids were talking to me. What did I miss?
I was trying to figure out if I got this $69 perk for Nat Purse. Tales from the Nat Purse.
Let me go check. I'll check for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we did bring up, these comics are all signed. That, of course, adds a different layer of value to it. But once again, and this was brought up by someone in the chat as well. Dan is obviously coming at this from a very different, from the comic book store perspective, and it's just like
Not
these
just
are
comic book
very
store.
different realities. Okay,
Retailer.
Yeah, retailer. Correct. Thank you for
Well, his
clarifying
shit
that.
must have got shut down.
So it just doesn't make sense to try and say, well, but if this book was just sitting there on the shelf, it wouldn't be worth that money. And it's like, well, duh. Obviously. That's what kind of argument is that? It's not just a book sitting on a shelf. It is part of this much larger experience that people are investing into. If you can't understand that, it doesn't make sense to you. Like, these are two completely different realities and worlds here. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to hear him talk about his thoughts on like the Marvel variants, where it was like 1 for 50 copies. You buy that, and then you're trying to turn around and sell that to your customers for that inflated price, because that's why anyone would even want it. Is just for that cover art. And the fact that like retailers had to be buying into this or they wouldn't do it. Like, it's the only way they could get these things to sell.
Right.
And that's why there's a whole bunch of people right now on technically like trying to complain about us be charging too much. Like, if not going to mention names, but you have a lot of people going around right now complaining about the fact that we're charging a bit too much. We should offer a 40% discount to retailers because it's the retailer way. And then you have a supposedly crowdfunding platform that's starting not too long ago when all this shit is restarting again. Don't you think it's weird that there's a new crowdfunding platform that's especially supposed to be serving the LCS, so they can have that 40% discount, and they've all been promoting it.
Right. Well, how do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's pretty clear what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Retailers already get a retail price. That's what a retail price is. I mean, I've worked. You guys know I worked in adult bookstores, but I've worked in bookstores. We pay 10 cents for DVDs, and we sell them for $20.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm a store, Sim's gonna sell me his comics anyway for $15 a piece because I'm gonna be buying 100 or 1,000 of them.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Not just because you're buying two, though. That's the thing that I think it's weird in their mentality. Is like, why? Because you buy one book, you should have it. Do you understand what I mean? Like, yeah, but if you go buy the big bundle there, you do get a discount. Like you just said, you usually bring it down to a more retailer type of item. Maybe not the full 40% that you were expecting, but you're getting one.
Right. I mean, I'm just kind of, this is off the cuff. I just thinking about this as a store owner. If I was a store owner and I'm seeing what's going on in crowdfunding, what I might do is I would maybe create a whole shelf or a section, a crowdfunding section, right? So there's distinction there. And then, it's going to be higher priced, but maybe it comes with all the stretch goals that came with, whatever. But it's like maybe you start, if you just present it a little differently, you can still offer this to your customers and try to maintain some of those differences that make crowdfunding special. I don't even know if it's possible, though.
I don't know if it's the same for you in the US, but I know here in Canada, most of the time that when you go to a comic book shop, you don't even have an image. It's like they used to have like mainstream, and you used to have Image, Dark Horse, and stuff like that in one corner, right?
Yeah.
Now, and for the last few years, you would go to a comic book shop, and all you have it's Marvel, DC reruns in this, reprints in this, TPB, and you're like, where are the indie? You have one row with maybe like one or two titles of Image, one Dark Horse, one IDW, and that's it.
Right.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Hey man, how you doing, Vinny? Yeah,
I saw some of this shit last night, and it was, to me, the whole thing was just fucking bullshit and staged. Every bit about this, because let's face it, like the retail section in comic shops, independent is pretty much non-existent. They survived on Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC are putting out complete trash. That's the bottom line.
Funko Pops and Magic.
Yeah, that's what's keeping comic shops in business. Yeah. This guy does not have a comic shop anymore, from what I understand. I don't know the situation and how it happened, but I guess we could assume that he couldn't survive because of what the mainstream's doing. This guy's trying to get more clout with those people, and he wants them to come on his show more. This guy is coming at all this shit with both hands over his eyes, his hands over his ears. And he's just letting them jerk them around is what they're doing, you know.
Like I said, he's been talking about that crowdfunding platform. That's what I'm saying. It's just weird that because he's been around for 3 years or more.
This guy with the Coca-Cola shirt.
Yeah, and I'm like, how can you be around CG for 3 years, independent comics, and not know nothing about CG, really?
Or not buy a single book. So how could he sit there and go, oh, I haven't read any good books out of CG. You haven't read any books, period.
And then ask us to send them books. I'll read them if you send them to me for free. I'm like, you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please. Why? Who are you? Why would anybody send a book to this guy for free?
Yeah,
This
these-
is again.
these-
These are people locked into a system, a
Entitled.
structure, a hierarchy that is disintegrating. It's falling apart. It's tumbling to the ground. They
Uh-huh.
want to cling to it. They want their little status. They want their little like freebies. They want the hierarchy to remain the same, and it's just not going to fucking happen. It's
the
over.
same. It's the same that happened
Yeah,
with the
it's over.
movie critics. Remember?
Well, listen, listen, hold on. Listen, the other side, like, because of the Keanu thing, since it's attached to Boom Studios, they felt like that was a good shot in the arm. You know, like they're proud of themselves for doing that. Well, guess what? You only made that money again because of Keanu's name, and we don't know what
Yeah.
his cut is, right? So like they're acting on their high horse again, and they think they're gonna do something. Well, unless you go to Hollywood and you grab a whole bunch of those creeps and you try to attach their names to more projects, there's no way that this is going to be saved on any level. And what we're doing isn't even about saving books. What we're doing is saving the independent scene is what we're really doing. If you want to look at it,
It's
because
it's changing the comic book industry. It's a new industry. It's not like you cannot do your floppies anymore or do the thing. No, we're trying something different. It's stepping up the game.
of course, because it's about quality. Because right now, it's like you said last night, Sam. I saw that he showed your super chat. What we're doing is a European model. You know, we're releasing premium format books. Yeah, they're slightly higher, but guess what? They're not 22. No, they're not 20 pages and filled with fucking ads. You know,
Exactly. Like you get a 22-page, and dude, we were counting them the other day. You go into that 22-page comic, there's like 11 page of story, 11 page of ads, and dude, it's half and half. I'm not fucking kidding you. And you're paying $5 to $6 an issue.
Please. And the paper quality is all shit in those.
Yeah.
You know, it's all garbage. That's the one thing that I did when I came over here. I made sure that my books were going to be at the highest quality, and that's another reason why I was giving my printer to everybody, because they also wanted really high quality. The other creators who grabbed my books, they were like, "Holy crap, where'd you get these done?" And I was happy to tell them, because that's what this is about. It's about having like that virtual art studio type deal, right?
Yep.
We help each other when we can. We're promoting each other. This is different from anything else. It's different from Image Comics. It's different from everything. Image Comics, they stole from each other all the time.
It was maybe a same basic that started it, but they were closed, right? It was like an elitist type of thing that started. It was and then they started eating at each other.
Yeah, they were poaching. They were doing all that shit. That's why I can't look at CG as the same thing, because I know a few people tried to. It's not. They might have elements of it, but no. What we're doing is different, and we're pushing forward strong. Like what this guy says right away, he's still attached to what happened like in 2017. They're a hate group. The fans all attack and blah blah blah. Like, what are you talking about? Hold on. He didn't say the fans. He said ComicsGate as a whole attacks and bombards people. No, nobody does. No one does on any fucking level, because we're all working hard over here. Fans might be vocal about shit, you know, if they see something bad too, you know, what's going on, but no one is targeting them. What we're doing is defending ourselves.
Yep,
exactly. And now I will inject this as well. I think these are people that are not accustomed to having highly engaged fans that are actually part of the conversation, fans that are having a good time. So when they see a chat room going off, people making jokes, having a great time, responding to what's going on in a video, when they see that kind of they probably get intimidated by it. They're like, whoa, what's happening? These people are aggressive. And it's like, no, this is what engagement looks like, people.
Yeah.
They're not used to it.
To me, it's like it's a pimp because you have better quality than he does. It's weird. It's like the way that he's acting right now is like, how dare you offer something better and different? You know, it's like that's how he's acting now. It's like, that's not what I know. We know. We're telling you it's not what you know. We're trying to change the business model. And
that's what I'm saying. Those boys never had consensual sex.
Oh, there we go again. It's inevitable, but and I think it's. I like that you brought up the European. It's not like this isn't a model that works. That you can look somewhere else and see that. Look, this is something. It's already been proven that it works. We're just It's just taking it to the next level.
And like the way I said it too is like, dude, it's like It's an European business model in an American format.
Mhm.
Period. That's what it is.
And we've seen that it's worked for decades overseas because you go
Right.
you go anywhere over there, France, Sweden, whatever, they have giant stores filled with their kind of books, right? They release them maybe once or twice a year. There are people steadily buying these. The quality is through the roof because you're giving artists and writers time to develop the entire story in the book properly. That's what's good. Not this shit where they're trying to bang out shit like every 2 weeks or whatever the fuck they're doing now. And again, the page numbers are shit. They're like fucking 20 max. What they're trying to do is sell variant covers. And you have a handful of these specific artists that they all worship and they suck their dicks. Why? Because they're the only people that could sell these books. Look at people like J. Scott Campbell. This guy is making, well, he was at conventions. He was pulling in fucking 6 figures every convention he was going to, just selling variant covers with his little signatures on them and shit like that.
Yeah.
He made a business out of that. Good for him. But you know what? He stopped drawing comics. He stopped doing interior pages. Todd McFarlane had to bring him in for a fucking Spawn issue to do a handful of pages. If you want to do a cover, you got to do interior because just he wanted something out of them. You know, like all these people, they're lazy. They don't want to do anything. All this shit looks the same, and they're banking on this. The mainstream's banking on shit like that because the stories, you know, suck. They're fucking horrible. You know,
Right.
and then now because what is like the Joker story? Now we got to go back and we got to destroy the character. By doing the horror. It's they are scraping at the bottom of the barrel, and then they see us over here, and it's making money. It's doing well, and they fucking hate it because they can't control us.
Well, and it doesn't feed into that old model. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, of course it's scary to them. But I think this is going to drop into kind of like the YA kind of strategy that DC is definitely going for, and it also the book you just mentioned, the 3 Jokers. Interesting.
Another thing I'd like to bring up there before I forget, it's one of the most stupidest freaking comment he did was like Ethan was saying, he goes to Ethan and goes, "You're saying that the regular comic book industry is dead or dying." I don't agree. I think it's evolving and right. But after that, it's that line. Ethan goes, "It's dead already. Forget it. They're not hiring people like us." And he backed up and he goes like, "But I don't think saying that it's dead, right? It's accurate. It just doesn't exist anymore. What you're talking about just doesn't exist anymore." And I'm like, I even pointed out in the fucking chat, like in all fucking cap. Seriously? It's not dead. It just doesn't exist anymore. What?
Yeah.
And they're
that
pushing,
makes sense.
And they're pushing characters like Miss Marvel. I'm from a Pakistani background. I asked people here who Miss Marvel was, and they didn't know who Miss Marvel was. I mean, they're not even if you have a Pakistani character, they're not even targeting the Pakistani characters. And the characters that in the stories and the characters they have, you have to know a huge backlog of history behind them. You cannot jump into the comics either. You cannot jump into the comics either. You don't know where to start as somebody that is new to comics. At least with CG Comics, they're all new. They're all new IPs. You can jump into them whenever you like. You can okay, this comics is not about superheroes. This comic is about the cyberpunk world. This is about D&D. This is about something else. I mean, there's variety, and I don't see any variety in DC and Marvel. They're like, okay, we're going to bring in these characters, and there is this huge war that happened in the past, and because of that war, we're going to start a story. Like, am I supposed to learn the history and whatnot?
Right.
Am I supposed to go as a new, as somebody completely new? I have to go back.
But hold on. You see right there what you said? They won't even what they're trying to do. Like, they won't market it, like you said, towards other people in the world. What they're trying to do is hit a specific demographic. They're hitting, like you said, the Pakistani one, right? It's this girl in New York or whatever, in Queens, wherever she's from, And it's you have to be a girl and you have to be brown skinned to understand her story that lives pretty much like in this city or the United States. It's not open for the rest of the world. It's not open to the demographic that they wanted to hit, right? It's the very super specific, tiny fucking one that there's maybe, I don't know, 2 to 5% of them out there, right? And it's specifically in the United States. That's all they want to do. They want to check off the boxes because to them, they have their fucking sheet of, okay, we need a black, lesbian, Asian, like they have this little fucking list they need to check off. Trans, because
correct. It's not about.
And, dude, if you follow this, soon you're gonna have the X-Men, right? And each of them are gonna have different sexual orientation or racial, right? And you're gonna have to have a writer for each of them to write that story because you cannot, that's what's gonna happen.
Yes, right. Yeah,
because that guy's gay, so you're gonna have to have a gay guy to write him, and then hire somebody else to write that character's dialogue.
Well, that's what they were doing. They had already started doing that shit.
Yep.
There was that one writer. He was a gay black guy, and they only wanted him fucking doing Black Panther or something. Yep. They wouldn't let him do anything else, and he wanted to do other stuff. This is what I mean, man. It becomes racist. What they're doing is fucking racist. The mainstream is shit, pure shit. And guys like this, what he's doing, like having Ethan on. Look at Ethan, first of all. He's dressed like he came out of the Blue Oyster Club. This guy knows for a fact he's mocking him the way that he's dressed like that.
That's why they look at the Beaver Club here.
But listen though, he knows he's mocking him, but he's having him on it, and he's ignoring the obvious because he wants to get his little points across that it's going to butter up to the other side. You know, that's why I think it's even more hilarious that he's dressed like that, because then he's giving the logical facts to everything. Well, this guy's going, well, you guys are a hate group, and all you do is attack people, and your books are all low quality. Excuse me, you haven't read any of the books. You haven't backed any of them. How the fuck would you know that, first of all? Everything about this guy, it's bullshit. It's staged. If he's not being paid by Mark Waid on the other side, he's just trying to get them to come on his show. He wants clout. He wants to grow his channel and all that shit. That's what he's doing. And he thinks that the mainstream is going to come back stronger than ever. It's not.
Well, he actually in this video multiple times he says that the comics are doing better than ever. Those are his words, and that might be in this little. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, or we're going to be here for a very long time.
Taken over by AT&T. Decisions are being made at a much higher level. If you'd watch you should watch our previous episode with Bill Shanes or some of our other episodes where we talk to some people who really know the industry really, really well, and those players really, really well.
Yeah.
And so they would tell you, DC, the people who made that call, I think leaving Diamond was not a bad call. I think having more distributors was a very good call, but then removing themselves from Diamond was like a terrible move for choice for retailers. It's just dumb. Anybody who understood the Heroes World when Marvel bought Heroes World back in the 90s would have understood that. People who watch this channel understand that because we talked to Steve Jeppy all about it. But
I talked to Steve Jeppy too in person. And I will say that it sounds more to me. I want you to separate yourself from your stance of everything should be about the defense and protection of the direct market. And I want you to look at it from AT&T and DC Publishing's point of view. Does it sound like they give a damn about the comic book industry as you understand it? Does it sound like they're worried about, the comic book industry surviving? Do you think they've maybe drawn another conclusion more in line with what I'm suggesting? And that's why they're behaving the way that they're behaving? It's just a thought.
It's clear what they're doing to me anyway. This is my theory. Can you tell? I don't know if you look at DC Comics and the ads in them and the stuff that they're putting out now, the young adult bookstore bound stuff. They're aping Raina Telgemeier and Scholastic. Your industry, they see the writing on the wall and they understand targeting that younger audience that's much larger, much broader is going to bring awareness to their characters, their brand. It's going to usher in that whole next generation of boys and girls. And when they grow up, there's going to be a whole range of comics for all of them to read. So I know you seem to have a problem with thinking like maybe women.
We agree about that, by the way. That is 100% what DC's doing. They've given up the direct market and comics as we understood them before. The industry that employed all of us, is dead. It's dying. DC gave it up already. And they're moving on and going, well, comic books aren't dead. How could comic books be dead? People will always produce comic books. How do we sell them and who are we selling them to? And that's the question.
I think they're pivoting. Yeah, they're pivoting. But to say that they're dead, I think is a stretch. I think it's the direct market. If Diamond goes down, that's not good for the direct market. But I know enough direct market retailers; they're smart and scrappy enough, and they're all pivoting to a
They
multi-distributor.
will figure out how to survive this.
They're going to
Yeah,
survive.
but
The good ones are going to survive. So
just like
but-
they've been surviving, not selling comic books, but selling pop figurines for the past 5 years. They're going to figure out a way to keep their stores open. Comic books are not selling. These comic books are not selling. The argument as to why they're not selling is something that comic skaters have. We've been having for 2 or 3 years.
I'm going to take a little bit of issue because some of the top selling comics are doing what the mid list seems to have been kind of disappearing. Like there's been they were both of them have been publishing too many titles. I think is the consensus. Both of the big two. And
why do you think? Why would they be publishing too many titles? I mean, obviously, Marvel and DC flooding the market guarantees that independents are not going to have a place on the shelf.
Exactly.
That's been a strategy. They've been doing that forever. They make sure that if they put out enough books, the LCS can only afford to get those books on their shelves. That's the game plan. They've always been doing that.
That's one. Two is that they keep doing number ones. They keep doing mini series, these big events where you go back to number one because number ones sell for them. So if you do this giant fucking event every 2 months or something, you're gonna always have number ones. You're always gonna have something that they think people are gonna want. But guess what? Lots of them tie into the previous one where it's basically all shit. And they could have just done a continuous series, but they don't want to do that because a continuous series, the numbers keep dropping off. By issue 2, by 3, you got gigantic drop-offs. You're talking 70% of the people like, okay, I don't want this book anymore. And it depends on the creative teams because you might have a good creative team that's working on the first couple of issues. Then you go and you get the outsourced ones, or the ones you get in third world countries that aren't as good, but the pay for them it's astronomical. Over here, it's pennies. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're trying to fill it all up like that, and we're just going to bang out garbage, make a simpler style because we think the simpler style is going to appeal to younger kids, right? And we're going to keep pushing characters that nobody wants. Look at what they did with the video game too for Avengers. They made Miss Marvel the main. They made her the lead character. When they first announced that video game, she was nowhere mentioned.
Nope, of
then
course
they
not.
started dropping her, and when they did, it's like, okay, now she's the main star. It's like people are like, why? Why her? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think
well,
this is a big problem. Is like, why if you specifically try and write down or target a younger audience, a younger group of readers, that does not appeal to those readers at all. And this is like Only Death Can Save Us. There are creators in CG that really understand this very well. You don't write down to that audience.
No.
You just avoid doing the excessive, maybe you avoid the sexual content or excessive gore.
Exactly.
But you need to have intelligent, heavy themes in place. The young readers don't want to be spoken down to.
Right, because here's the thing: comic books that's the gateway for kids to learn how to read. And because if they can't they don't know what a big word is or whatever, they'll look it up. They'll find out what the meaning is. That's how growth happens. And as they're reading these stories, and they're not played, that's not dumbed down. Don't make your audience come off like they're stupid, because that's what Marvel and DC, that's what they do, and that's the wrong fucking way of going. You got to be smart about things. Give them something that they can sink their teeth in. There's a lot of cool stuff. Have different whatever direction you want to go in, but don't make it a dumb book. Don't just fucking throw it out there to throw it out there, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
Well, show us the sales of that one book that was targeted to why the gay one, the gay Aqualad, that the guy could jizz out of his fucking arms.
What?
What?
Remember, you boys Zach made a video of it. Was it
Wow.
You Brought Me the Ocean or some shit like that?
Holy crap!
It was some underage 14-year-old kids, and it was Aqualad. He was into some Asian kid, and he had the ability to jizz out his arms.
Holy hell!
For the kids.
Okay. For the kids.
I want to see the
awful.
Was there a vote? Was there a vote for Democrats or Biden ad on the back of that book as well?
Right.
Probably.
Undoubtedly.
Your boy Zach did a video of it. That's how I remember it.
Commie Mark made a really great comment earlier. Having to get. Well, if it's a gay character, it's got to be a gay person writing it, right? Well, what if it's a serial killer character? What if it's a murderer? Well, it's only fair, right? We should be finding murderers to write those parts as well, shouldn't we? It
Most
just makes
American
sense.
serial killers were gay.
How you doing, George?
Good. Have we? I'm just jumped in here. Have we talked about the speculator market that actually just did most of the destruction of the comic books?
No, we didn't. We haven't gotten into that. It's not a real. Obviously, I agree with you on that. I think most people would. It's not really. I don't think it comes into play in this so-called interview.
Well, it's something I saw the interview, and it was something that was missing greatly. Is that the speculator market? They only went after, like Vinny said, they only pick up the number ones. But there's a reason why the market was picking up number ones. Everybody just wanted, fast cash turnaround. The speculator market, they're the ones that push the purchasing of the number ones, and then they just forgot about 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And now there's like 1,000 number ones that are worth nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if you're a company producing this medium, producing comics, I think the responsibility, the leadership needed to be there to understand it's very short. If we cater to that market, to these people that just want those highly collectible number ones, if we just focus on that and stop producing quality storylines and characters, it's gonna in the long term it's gonna destroy us. That's a lack of leadership, in my opinion.
That's what happened with Bolito. I used to support Bolito all the time, but I got fed up of always like number one, like Lady Death number one. You're like, which one's the real number one?
Yeah.
It's like every time it's the number one, I don't know, like it's not. You just get driven off in a way.
And also regarding Marvel and DC flooding the market, well, no one's really talking about it. Is that they were ruthless behind the scenes. I know it firsthand with my books in the 90s. They would try to crush any independent at all.
Yep.
Hey, here, take a little extra on Spider-Man and stuff like that. Forget about those independents. We'll throw in this stuff for you.
You'll get a few toys for free if you order that amount from us, so you can make it a little extra cash.
There is a moment here. I think it's coming up real soon where Three Jokers comes up, and I really love what EVS states on this part.
The glut of titles there is just producing diminishing returns on the mid and lower tier titles. I talked to a lot of publishers, X and people around at DC, etc., and that seemed to be the consensus: is that there was more bang for the buck in putting your money into mega hits, right? And so we've got.
Well, look at Three Jokers.
Here we go.
Three Jokers proves that the audience that we have sold to, that this industry, again, when I say the industry as we formerly understood it, selling to our audience, meaning mostly men, we're still there. That comic book sold 300,000 copies in its first printing at $8 a piece. Who are they selling that to? Are they selling that to 13-year-old girls, or are they selling that to you and me? The audience is still there. So why aren't all of these books selling 300,000 copies?
I don't know why a 13-year-old girl couldn't like Three Jokers. Why not?
Sure.
This is perfect.
What is that?
Hold on.
Sure. I like the answer. Sure. I'm not falling for that.
No, what he says here is the real fucking, this is the home run right here.
Dan, sure, a 13-year-old girl is going to like it. Definitely. It's for everyone. But it's the difference between... Sure, yeah. It's the difference between Three Jokers selling to the 13-year-old girl. Let's include her because she's got great taste. And to people like me and you. Okay, this girl, she loves Batman. She likes good Batman comics.
I thought that comic's done.
The theoretical 13-year-old girl that's buying three Jokers. The difference is that Gotham High, for example, is not selling to you and me. That's not for you and me. So that's for... Right. So that's for the 13-year-old girl. And that is where most of AT&T is investing its publishing energy. And the reason for that is because they've already seen the future. And the future is the CW TV shows that are going to be translated to HBO Max.
Yeah. So that, and we kind of hit on this. It's like, of course, a 13-year-old girl having great taste, I love that he put that in there, could really enjoy Three Jokers because they love comics and it's a great story. And they got pulled into it, of course. But it wasn't written down to them. It wasn't targeted directly at them. This is the problem, man. And I this whole concept of young adult, like creating these specific young adult, I I don't see the future in that, to be honest, myself. I don't know what
Yeah.
all ages comics, I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
But writing them down, like specifically trying to cater,
Yeah, well,
old people trying to cater to young people, it never works. It's always a disaster.
Yeah, it's like he said, man, that they're trying to grab some kind of storyline that they could later turn into a TV series that's going to be in the CW or whatever. But guess what? Even those are flopping, and they've canceled a bunch of them, right? They canceled a bunch of their shows because it is stupid. It's dumbed down. No one wants to see those versions, and there's more proof of it right there. For what this guy was trying to do, he was trying to do the misogyny thing again. He keeps trying to bring that up. And it's ridiculous because I've had a number of female backers on all my projects as well as male. So it's like this guy, he doesn't have a leg to stand on. He's just doing this, like I said, to get that clout from the other side because he wants these people on his show because to him, he's still like starstruck by like Gail Simone's and Mark Wade's and all these kind of people. And he thinks that they're going to bring big numbers for him. It is ridiculous. Comics have fallen to shit. What we have is working, and they're upset by it. They can't control it. They can't do any of that stuff. You know?
Right. Yeah. Does anyone else have thoughts on like this whole YA kind of market they're trying to create?
What's hilarious to me is when they mentioned that Swamp Thing, if you haven't seen, they're moving that. They canceled that, and now they're moving it to the CW.
Right.
Which I don't know why they're doing that. And then my wife, she watches the shit out of that Archie TV show, Riverdale.
Mm-hmm.
That show's absolutely ridiculous.
It is. Yeah. Couldn't bear it. I mean, I looked at it. I was
trying
like,
to
why
figure
is this
out
thing
how the
getting
fuck
so
you
much
like
attention?
that
And
shit. So the people that they're appealing to is mostly women, and they basically like soap operas.
Correct.
So why put it into a comic book format if you're already getting the viewership on your TV channels?
Yeah. That's something very key. This attempt to go after the YA market, the young adult market, it's going to fail miserably, and within 5 years, they're just going to forget about it. I'll tell you why.
Most of them don't read.
The technology today, it's more interesting what's happening on their phones than them sitting down with their attention span is short. Vinny can tell you this firsthand.
Yep.
The kids' attention span today is short. There's no way a comic book, even of 24 pages, will hold their attention long enough. It's practically impossible. The other thing is the women market. They like Harlequin. This is the women's market. Why is Harlequin movies still going on and making lots of movies? If you actually go to Harlequin or whatever it is, movies.com, whatever you want to call it, look at the huge list of movies that they're producing every year. Yeah. There's a reason for that. The women's market, that's what they want.
Because back in the day, marketing, if you got the younger female crowd, you pretty much guaranteed yourself a whole bunch of money. But like you said, things changed. The phones really rule the day right now. All the apps, all that kind of shit, right? And they're living off of it. And it's just like, sending shit back and forth to their friends of funny faces and filters and all that kind of weird shit, right? They're not looking to buy stuff. And the female market that are interested in books, it's about romance and drama. Those are the two things that they love. And it's the two things that you don't see as much in comic books. You'll have some drama and some storylines, sure, but it's mostly action. It's stuff like that, right? So to find balance where you can get, people on both sides, you have to work harder in your storylines. Because if it's a good story, anybody and everybody will buy it. Doesn't matter if male, female, trans, zebra. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
If it's good, people will come to it.
Exactly. Agreed. And no. Not just young people, but no group whatsoever likes being spoken down to or trying like manipulated into trying to nobody wants that. Nobody likes it. So this attempt to do that with comics it is going to fail. Like George said, it's just not going to work. I love Thunderbuns. Your comment here is so dead on. The first comics I'm publishing are all ages in the truest sense, written for adults, but safe for kids. This is powerful. And this is why probably most of it, if you got into comics at a young age, it wasn't because they wrote a comic for you as a child. It's because you were almost like, ooh, I got something maybe I'm not supposed to have. And it was really exciting. And it had themes in it that really got you thinking. But it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't something you shouldn't be reading. It just felt like, it felt a little bit like, ooh, I'm reading something that's for an older person. That's exciting.
And that's the reason why it was technically the gateway into learning to read for a whole bunch of people before, because the writing was not childish, was not like,
Yeah, exactly.
It was encouraging you to go in to read a novel. Eventually, you start reading a novel, you're like, oh yeah, you started reading it.
Yeah, and again, like Bancroft, he makes a great point here. His daughter loves Gamora. She wants to read Gamora comics. That's the other thing. See, kids, they don't want the goofy, silly character. They do want the badass.
Exactly, right.
Well.
Yeah,
love you, Bones Hale, brother. You're awesome. But yeah, no, it comes down to that. Harley Quinn is likable because she's crazy, she's fun, but she's also like that badass. She has that, right? So there's certain things that people do want, and there's certain things like young girls would enjoy or get down to, right? But like, look at what they did with the cartoons, for example, in the 80s. The He-Man toys, because it was the toys before the cartoons or anything else. The kids came up with the phrase "I have the power." It wasn't a marketing guy. It was the kids playing around with the figures.
Oh, and right. Yeah.
They attached themselves to it. When they made She-Ra, it was the same thing. His twin sister. They liked that empowerment thing. She wasn't a flake. She wasn't some little thing. She was fighting as well, and she was doing whatever she was doing. They liked that kind of stuff. So why would you dumb things down? Why would you make the artwork, even more ridiculous to mimic these super cheap cartoons that are out there right now? Something Universe and all those other fucking things. It's cheap shit. It's garbage.
Absolutely. It's so wrong. Think it's not going to work. It is going to fail.
Look at something like this cartoon called Primal. This was supposed to be a filler. It's like a caveman and a dinosaur.
Yeah, dude. Amazing. Pretty cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
5 episodes, right? This thing took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe it. They greenlit the next season. Yeah, the first one for the second half started, right? So there's 6 of them out there. Yep. But why? Because it's something cool. They didn't cheapen anything down.
No dialogues. It's so visual storytelling, and it's better than anything I've watched in a long fucking
exactly. Now
You
try and sell that to a bunch of suits around a conference table. They're going to say, hell no, that'll never work. This is what we have to understand. These people do not understand.
Oh no, it's not that they don't understand. On a corporate level, I can speak to this directly. I've seen it firsthand. I was in meetings for this kind of crap. Is that these managers? They're all trying to say, well, we want the widest market. We want to capture They're completely oblivious to the fact that people want westerns. People want sci-fi. People want drama. People want police. All right, everyone has a particular taste, but they don't go after that demographic. They say we want the young market. They don't understand that the young market that they're trying to go for is a market that's developing to learn and to read. That only happens with the parents, and that only happens up until like from whatever 0 to 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's the market that they're trying to go for, but they're oblivious to the fact that they don't create product to that market. They don't create children's books. They're creating young adult books, expecting it to be purchased by that market. No, that the young adults, the kids have grown up. The women and the men. I'm talking about in puberty stage. The boys and the girls going through puberty stage. Somebody would like a sports interest. Others would like cooking interest. Others would like cars, whatever. Those kids, their interest is what they not pinpointing. And this is why. Let me finish. And this is why manga is so successful, because the young audience is actually picking up manga because why? There's so many wide-ranging interests in that genre. You can put ping pong. Golfing.
Yeah, and Gabriel kind of hits on this. Manga mostly has this model sorted out. content squarely aimed at specific age ranges, genders, and tastes. Half-assing the YA approach is doomed to fail. Absolutely, and they are certainly half-assing.
It's like Shonen Jump and all those things. It literally says, "Hey, here's action for boys. Here's action for girls. Here's a love story for girls. Here's love stories for boys." That's what it is.
Listen. You know what it is. The key to it is having a great story, and then whatever your genre is, Western, contemporary, whatever. That's the backdrop. That's to get the interest in visually. If you have a great story, you could put that story in almost any different genre. You could work your way around it, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing, man. If you want to pull them in with the Flash, with superhero, if it's not a superhero book, but you just have strong leads and stuff, it comes down to the story. If your story is shit, you have nothing. If your story is good, it can fit anywhere, and you get to choose where you want to set it, how the characters are going to act with one another, and the world that you're creating. Yeah. You have to think all the way around, like a movie director, a writer, an actor. Like you got to put it all together. Is what you have to do as a creator.
Agreed. And we are going to be talking about this tomorrow. You brought up the importance of story, but and I think Vonster posted something about this on Twitter. But it's really the character development. Really, it's when the characters make an impact, when they connect with the reader. That's really what creates longevity. Yes, the bigger story is of course important, but if you don't put the time into the characters themselves, you're not going to have something that lasts or appeals to people. Just 1 second, I am seeing some new faces here. Okay. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, I would appreciate that. If you can share out this stream, I think we're hitting on some great topics. So go ahead, Vinny.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I get heated very quickly, and I
love it.
But characters are super important because you want to see their journey. You want to see them fall and get back up. That's the reason why Batman has lasted so long, because he's just the man in a suit with gadgets and shit, and he just has his brain and his willpower is what it is. So when you see him get torn down completely, you can't wait to see him get back up. When he's in the fucked up situation, how is he going to get out of it? That's the cool thing. That's why something like 007, why people love that as well. It doesn't have to be specifically in comics. You want to see the character grow. You want to see them develop, and you want to see them get through their hardships. So yeah, character is super important.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation tomorrow because it is, people always talk about the story, the importance of story, of course, but it really is about building those iconic, relatable characters that aren't that have their flaws and strengths.
Especially in superhero comic books, the title's the goddamn name.
Yeah, exactly.
You better be special.
Oh, exactly. Well, again, going back for a second on Primal, that's the thing. There's no dialogue, but the story is so tight. The characters are so well written. There's emotion. You connect with them immediately. There's sad moments. There's heartfelt moments. There's some funny stuff in there. They put it all. And without a single word of dialogue, just yells and grunts.
Yep.
That to me, there's a reason why they won an Emmy already. There's a reason why people are flocking over and they can't get enough of it. And this is what it comes down to: story and characters together. Do something good.
It's like everybody remembers the Nuff Said comics. Remember when Marvel did it? Mm-hmm. They went Nuff Said. They were amazing, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For people that don't know what the Nuff Said was my Marvel. I think was in late 90s, I think, beginning 2000. They decided to go all their main titles and no dialogues, and just let the artists improvise the story, and it was freaking amazing.
One book in a year or whatever for each title, and they did that, and it's good because you're supposed to be able to tell a story without words.
Right.
And Vinny picked up on that perfectly, and Sim here. Yeah, if you can actually flip through a book and understand it without reading it, that's a well-crafted book. And then when you go back and read what's going on, it's a perfect book. It doesn't matter what it is.
That is why I want, and I know George, you snagged that final panel on the 24-hour comic project. That's why I'm so looking forward to this, because we are literally going to let artists tell a completely visual story. That isn't to say that I might have a contest for writers to who can write the best words to it. But initially, I just want it to be completely 100% visual storytelling, and I love that. It speaks to what you're saying. It should be. You should be able to get the core of a story just from looking at the visuals if it's done well.
For sure. Hey guys, I do got a jet, but
All right.
if anybody who's watching, if you guys want to tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I'm gonna have the 656 crew on.
Oh, nice, good.
Talking about their project. So yeah, tune in on my channel tonight. It's gonna be at Vinny Art. That's my YouTube. You can find me
Yes,
on
and
Twitter as well.
I've got Vinny's YouTube, a link to that in the description below. Dude, I always appreciate you coming on.
Dude, thank you, man. Yeah, like I said, your show is one of my favorite ones because you have a great dialogue between all this, between the fans, between what's going on with all the creators, getting all of our views. It's fucking awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Dude. Later, everybody.
Later.
See you, man. All right, let's. Things start getting real. Are you guys down to go a little bit longer?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Because this gets real juicy here. We haven't even hit on the big stuff, and we're not gonna have time to hit on all of it. But
obviously I'm willing to go more, dude. I watched the entire thing yesterday, like all
Yeah.
2 hours of shit, and as soon as he kicked Ethan off, I went fuck. Oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
I left, and obviously I want to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, at this part, I think he gets into calling people Nazis, targeted harassment. So yeah, it gets pretty spicy.
Yep.
That I thought was meant lovingly. So when
So
you
just
go along with
record, just to
Oh, sorry, guys.
For $5, you could upgrade.
Dude, get
One
at
moment.
that.
I know.
and I obviously I hate the idea of calling people Nazis that are just kind of mean people. Like it's sort of like to the word Nazi. It sort of like dulls your point. I find when you say somebody is a Nazi, but really what you mean is they're kind of mean or they did something shitty.
That's not what it means. That's not what it means.
It's-
It means
No, I
you voted for
understand.
Trump. You understand? That doesn't
Maybe if you mean to just call somebody mean, you could just say, "Hey, you're mean."
Yeah.
I don't. There's a word for that, Dan. It's called mean. Nazi is not the word, sir.
Who's been mean?
Everybody on the earth at some point, at any given point, yeah, people are mean sometimes.
And he gets so cringy when he starts pulling out the freaking cancer thing there, dude. And I was live in the goddamn chat.
Unreal, man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear a little bit more of this.
mean that you're a mean person, because Mitch Breitweiser, not a mean person. You know, Nazi. So it doesn't mean that. It has nothing to do with you being not nice or being seen as not nice. In fact, I think being called a Nazi should lead someone to be not so nice in response.
Okay.
I think that
you've been that. Let's be honest. I've talked to you before. When we talked, you told me on John Malin's stream, which has been deleted now. I don't know. I'm not sure why or hidden. You copped to being a provocateur. That's part of your gig. Do you think that's a fair? Still think that's a fair description?
Let's try and throw some shade before I
I
ask the
guess so.
question.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about one of my biggest problems with
I love his
what
little
I
There you
see
go.
coming out of your
There you
gig,
go.
Okay.
That's where we go.
And it is about targeted harassment. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at this
I
shit.
feel like you
This really fucking got under my skin, right?
Me too.
This had to, custom made little thing here so he could get a jab in and keep it a visual jab put on screen accusing.
That's how we knew that he had a script planned. He already had some heads, some notes written that he had to hit, and that's all he was trying to keep. He was saying that point, and he was waiting for Ethan to reach a point where he can slide the next one.
Yeah, he was
Not
setting,
listening. Yeah.
He was massaging the narrative to get to this point.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's all it was.
You guys felt that too, right?
Yep.
It wasn't just me. Okay.
Well,
I called him out on it.
I kind of wondered from the get-go, with the background being a swamp, is that his usual thing, or did he put that on there as
Yeah, of course he
I'm in
did.
the swamp.
And he didn't just he had to do it twice on his
Even-
green screen and on the background.
He even made the reference
I'm
to
just-
it at a point.
I'm just wondering if this is his plan. What is his unplanned would look like? I'm just wondering. Because he did not bring any points to his argument. I mean, do you guys listen to Louder with Crowder, that Devil's Advocate, that show where he tries to argue for the other guy, where he tries to argue from the opposite point of view.
Devil's
Right.
Yeah, I mean, from looking, I'm just wondering. I bet we could do a better job at arguing for him. We
Yeah.
could play better anti CG and argue with Ethan Van Sciver.
I agree with you,
better
man.
than
Yeah.
better than Dan.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think we could. First of all, we know the material better. We know the perspectives and how the tactics that are used against CG. We certainly could do a better job, which is that's pretty sad.
Maybe we should have a show, pretend to be anti CG.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can bring up one situation. I'm not a fan of Anna, but when she was that target harassment? The whole St. Ellen thing. I don't really know exactly what happened with that, but someone
Dude,
returned.
I don't know all the ins and outs of everything that went on. I think it's unfortunate.
It was.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about that in a very long time.
Yeah. But
So what do you mean? What do you mean? Targeted harassment in what way? Like from a particular group of people, like from CG toward Anna?
what I'm just asking if it was considered that. I'm not sure if that
Oh.
was a considered situation. Otherwise, I'm just going to disregard it.
Right. Yeah.
And
I
if
don't
you're
know.
if you're on the internet and you're open to a conversation, people are going to talk to you. That's
Right.
how I see it.
It's like if
If
you
you do-
think go, sorry.
Yeah, if you don't want to engage in a conversation, just set your Twitter to private. Don't bring it up. I mean, if you're going to put stuff out there, people are going to either going to like it or they're going to hate it. I mean, how do you harass a single? I mean, okay, we can say that if there's somebody that just made a mistake and is not popular, and then there's this bigger guy and he starts saying like, okay, report this guy, false flag this guy.
Right.
I would consider that as targeted harassment.
Sure. Well, and isn't I mean, wouldn't you say that the Whisper network that kind of works behind the scenes in mainstream comics? Aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't they targeting people for harassment? I mean, that seems pretty clear.
I think that's pretty much like being a hypocrite at this point, dude. It's because when you continue listening to this, he says it himself, okay? He keeps freaking like showing off his game every freaking time, right? And right now it's like targeted harassment. It's look, there's a bunch of people that didn't like what that person said, and they went there and told them what they thought about it, right? But how dare they say, I'm allowed to say what I want. How dare they complain that I said what I want? No, they're expressing themselves. That's the entire fucking thing of expressing yourself.
See-
He's allowed to express himself, and people are allowed to go and well, you're a dick.
Yeah.
And
There-
okay, fair enough. Let's agree to disagree. Okay, bye.
There is
Period.
certainly a difference between fan engagement in the moment, organic engagement of what is happening. If someone if you're kind of a little bit weak-willed, I would say, if you want to take that as targeted harassment because people are actually caring about what the conversation you're having and engaging it passionately, that's up to you, man.
Yeah.
Targeted harassment to me is pre-planned, it's organized. It has it's about intention.
It's malicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just today,
Exactly.
I heard Brian Stoker got doxxed. That recently happened. I mean, I would consider that as targeted harassment.
Yes, exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When it's about the intention behind it. It's about the pre-planning, the motive. Just having a bunch of people who are fans of somebody reacting in the moment to a conversation, a dialogue happening, that's not harassment.
Dude,
That's engagement. That's a
look
good thing. You should see it as a positive.
According to his thing, we could spin it around in his face and you shit talking about Ethan and keeping trash talking CG is targeted harassment. We all a whole bunch of people doing that right now.
Yeah, I would say that's more
No, if you,
true.
it's
Yeah, he had to like. Yeah, he has a bunch of these. He created a bunch of these banners just because, like George was saying, like everyone
Yeah.
here is kind of picked up on that he was getting to this stage in the conversation so he could drop these bombs, and he has little graphics pre-made to do it.
Oh, you probably had a PowerPoint connected to it so he can keep his lines. Okay, that's covered. That's covered.
Yeah, Past Master Dan. To me, targeted. It highly suggests organized. I mean, for sure. So let's see. There's something really funny because now Bancroft makes these little animated cartoons,
Do you
right?
feel like you have encouraged?
The one where it takes like things EVS has said and puts it to animation. Is that Bancroft that does those?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it kills me that he shows that as if it's incriminating. Like you can tell that he's wanting to show it as some kind of indictment regarding Ethan and targeted harassment. And I'm like, how can you be this clueless? It just killed me that he did that. You know what I mean?
Because
and EVS is like, thanks for showing that. I stand by every single word of it. It's absolutely true. And I know that you're trying to. It's for Dan. It seemed like it was going to be a gotcha.
Yeah.
You don't like cards.
He was so proud of himself. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. He had so many of those shots, dude, where you see his face going, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. And then he gets fucking. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. How many?
I mean, wow.
Yeah, Lucius.
Guys.
Lucius, you were saying something?
You don't like swag.
No, I didn't say anything. No, I was.
Alright.
I never saw this whole thing go down, so I'm seeing it as you guys are seeing it here.
Yeah, and I do, for everyone, I do have the link to the full show down below, and I do.
Would you say it's worth watching the whole thing?
Dude, I think it is. It's fascinating.
You can watch.
It gives you a lot of insight into how the other side really sees things, the perspective, you know. Yeah, I think it's worth it. And then I think EVS also had a kind of aftermath show. I haven't even looked at that yet, but I'm sure they go kind of EFAP it. I'm sure. So
Frag and Boom sniped it, so you can give him the view.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I caught a little bit of that. That's how I knew it existed. Is I was watching a little bit of Fragaboom. I couldn't watch the whole thing, but I did. He was sniping it, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to check that out tomorrow because it looks pretty good. Yeah. This dude came to me about a week ago, very complimentary about the cartoons, asking if yes, there you go. So he came sneaking around, being all nice and courteous. Can I show one of these? And obviously had these plans, like it was going to do harm to CG or EVS in some way. And it's like, no. Do you understand that EVS has played these cartoons multiple times on his own channel because they're awesome?
It's like two people with completely different values talking to each other and shaming each other, like two opposite values. Like one thinks like shit is really cool, and the other person thinks shit is really disgusting, and they're trying to shame each other. It's like that's not gonna happen.
Right. There is there's a lot to unpack in this thing. I do also recommend just checking the whole thing out. But there is this one part that I really want to hit on, and it has to do with
faces this guy gets caught doing. Like he just looks like such a cuck, like such a soy character. Like Ethan's just like staring stoically ahead, and this guy's like grabbing his face, looking up to the heavens, like.
Yeah, it's the body language is somebody who really understands body language could just tear this down completely.
Like, dude, it's clear. It's clear that he knows that somebody's watching. Somebody's sent him a message. Like, dude, it's.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh.
Yep. Sorry, I'm getting through this.
So go get Starfetch on your Apple.
It doesn't give you superpowers.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. So, this drops into the Mark Wade versus your boy Zach a lot. This absolutely blew my mind. I could not believe Dan's position on this. So
There's a lot of that going around.
Unity. Well, I agree.
I would say talking about murdering the police.
And in comics specifically. So I really want to talk a little bit more about target or harassment for a second. Because here's my biggest bone to pick with you, okay? This is one where I just think it's pretty awful. It's probably the worst thing that I've seen that I know that you've done. Okay? And that is the GoFundMe campaign to support the lawsuit against Mark Wade.
That's the worst thing I've done. Going to heaven.
Yeah, dude, you gotta hear. Did you hear that?
I think I said what Ethan said. That's the
worst. Me too. I said the same thing on live stream. Like, what? That's the worst?
Yeah, dude. He's like, whoa, damn. I'm a good boy.
You thought he must have had something really juicy, like it was some private message, and he's like about to blow the gates off of it, and it's just like, you helped fund a GoFundMe against Mark Wade.
Exactly.
Like,
he rattles off something that EVS is literally proud of. He's proud of doing. Like, what the fuck, dude? You are so lost in the weeds on this. It's unbelievable.
It's like saying, "Oh, you eat pies. Those pies are very disgusting. How dare you eat pies?" Like, completely different. Completely different values. Completely different opposite values. Like, what is
correct?
Like, pies for us is shit for them.
So yeah, but that's the thing, is that the entire thing is you're getting CG or Ethan and stuff like that getting canceled, or Sean, because they defended themselves in court. It's okay, just go, because we don't even need to say nothing. We don't even need to say nothing. He just freaking shovels like the hole so goddamn deep right there. Just press right.
Yep.
That you've done. Okay, and that is the GoFundMe campaign to support the lawsuit against Mark Wade.
That's the worst thing I've done. I'm going to heaven.
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh my God, I thought this was going to be a bad thing. I was like, what have I done?
Yeah, let's talk about because, well, why don't you tell me? Why don't you? Yeah, go ahead and explain to me why you think that's a good thing to do. Why you think that's really a great thing.
Well, I'll turn it over to you, and I will ask you, instead of me defending something that's patently obvious. I will ask you why you think it's okay for some random person who has nothing to do with either party, either Antarctic Press or Richard C. Meyer, to call up the publisher, knowing that there's a deal in place, and threaten the publisher and make them cry, and then destroy that deal.
Did they have a signed contract?
No, they had a verbal agreement, and they both acknowledged
they didn't have a contract. Okay.
Well, there's a verbal. Well, Dan, you got to understand. There's a reason why this has progressed to a lawsuit.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be signed. It only needs to be a contract.
I read the deposition.
That's when I say that he turned into a full fucking 10-year-old.
Read the whole thing.
I just want to say something. I just recently signed a contract through the internet, verbally, then through email. I wasn't physically there.
Right.
I recently signed a contract. Like, first it was verbal, and then it was through email. Those can be held up in court. Like, this guy sent me an email, so he agreed to this agreement. These things happen. I mean, both Richard C. Myers and the other party could share their messages as contracts, couldn't they?
Yep. Legally in the United States, verbal, text messages, any kind of form of agreement is a contract.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his argument is valid. Even if it was a verbal contract, it's still a valid contract.
So here's my question. This guy, it's so blatant. Like, this guy literally is saying this lawsuit has no ground to stand on. EVS is completely in the wrong. Your boy Zach is completely in the wrong. They're trying to just hurt somebody with it. Now let me ask you, do you guys think that Dan sincerely believes that? Or is he just blowing smoke up people's asses? Because there's a part of me that sincerely thinks he believes, he has convinced himself in his own mind, from his perspective, that he is right about this.
Yeah, he's whitelining to Wade.
I think he's an NPC.
Here's something interesting. he there's what I picked up on this whole Mark Wade thing when he's talking to EVS. There's a complete disconnect. Between what is being said in the court under oath
Yes.
and what everybody thinks happened.
Like one of the things that I brought
There's
up in the chat, I'm like, from which side did you get it? Because that's one of the things I kept bringing up. And the thing is, like, right now you're saying that you just read one side of it. Like me,
No. He didn't read one side of it. He read the court transcripts. That's what he said.
Okay.
So when you read the court transcript, it's impartial. It's
correct.
Question answer.
Yes.
So what is being told under oath? There's a complete disconnect between that and what everybody thinks happened.
That's what I'm saying. But you obviously saw that he was leaning towards one. Like he believed. Like he read. Like he believed. It was obvious that he believes the Wade side more than the other one, and he even said it because he thinks that Zach has. He thinks that Zach has no leverage, no reason.
That if you get that impression by reading the transcripts, then the only thing that comes to mind is we still don't know what really happened. I mean, you only get the story outside of the court. You've only been getting the story from one side, Ethan and Mark. Sorry, Ethan and Richard, right? Only one side, but obviously
that
to the story. And
I agree with you. On that. But
the court
but Zach
are the ones that actually leveling out the playing field and saying, okay, here's what is under oath. This is what's important. Everything else is just noise.
Yep.
I get that. So, I mean, and kind of, there is a danger here, obviously, kind of what you are kind of getting at a little bit is that we too, from our perspective, can be just as blinded, as Dan appears to be to us. But the thing that I haven't followed this thing extremely closely, but I do recall Zach having tremendous amount of transparency and showing documents, showing the actual, all of this stuff as it went down. Like he's not being vague about it. He's showing you all the details. Like
I even
there's no question that this guy interfered with Zach's ability to get the comic published. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Wade and Gil were fucking celebrating on fucking tweets and Facebook that they fucking stopped them.
Right.
That's the worst thing. Is like they were celebrating it. She was fucking proud. We stopped them. What the fuck?
It's all right there. It's in black and white. These things happen. So and again, Sci-Fi Snob is there's no dispute that there was interference. The real question is, has there been damage and how much? Of course, that's what the court is there to determine. For sure.
Yep.
And I don't know what that outcome will be, but it seems certain it wouldn't have gone on this long if there wasn't some kind of, actual case there. I mean, wouldn't it have been dismissed already?
I don't know. From what I'm getting right now, he seems pretty goddamn nervous and putting a lot of weight and defending a lot of weight and insisting because he goes over and over trying to confirm that the freaking GoFundMe is ended. And he goes, okay, yeah, but I know that it does. Now, if only Zach could drop the charges. I mean, that's the line, and I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, dude. He calls EVS cowardly for doing this. He's saying he's trying to paint him as this litigious man that's just going to sue everybody and anyone at the drop of a hat. And it's like, dude, standing up to wrongs. It's just like for me, like Owen Benjamin's case against Patreon. Somebody has to actually go through the motions to stand up to these institutions and companies and people that are doing shit like this. It's not cowardly, it's bravery to stand up to this kind of thing. He's got it backwards from my perspective. Am I blind? Am I not seeing the whole picture? Nope. Maybe. No. But I see it as bravery, not cowardice.
Guys,
opposite values.
Something else. I think he is in cahoots with Mark Wade, and what he tried to do is be like, "See, Mark, I got the charges, the case falling off against you. I think Mark Wade's sweating. I think that's the sign that everybody's been waiting for."
Yeah, for sure. Man, anyway, this was quite a ride. We barely scratched the surface. There's so much in this thing. We're approaching the 2 hour mark, so I think I'm about ready to throw in the towel on this one. But man, it is fascinating. I do want to check out also the Aftermath show that EVS did on his channel about it. I'm sure there's a lot of great insights in there. So, Sim, anything you'd like to shout out today?
Obviously, go check out Tales from the Netverse.
Indeed.
And if you missed out on Blood Hunt, grab one too. We're getting real close to unlocking the the first batch of 6 a.m. stickers, and hopefully we'll get all the way to unlocking the swimsuit special. But
Beautiful.
don't worry, if it's not unlocking on this one, it's gonna be coming back on Tales from the Netverse too.
All right, man. And I do have a link to Tales from the Netverse down below. Please check that out if you haven't already. Samir, anything you'd like to shout out?
Nothing. Just follow me on Twitter, and I've been doing a lot of editing for Rod. So please subscribe and share all his videos, so his channel can grow. And,
we're trying, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate your efforts. I am going to be releasing their clips taken from this show, little bite-sized pieces.
Man,
of
this
the
show is going to give me a lot of material.
Yeah, it's pretty endless. So yeah, George. Anything?
If you're tired of everybody on the panel, you can just go to georgepetergatsis.com.
I have no doubt that is probably the case. Yes, georgepetergatsis.com. And George will be participating, as well as Sim, in the 24-hour comic. Really looking forward to it. I have a link to the Twitter post in my description below. If you're an artist and you're interested in participating, we've got about 13 slots available. So be sure to check that out. Lucius, anything you'd like to shout out?
You know, I'll shout out Deathsworn. I keep seeing these patches that Carlo Rowe is putting on display and stuff, and like I don't know, like he's got one of the coolest merch supplies, I think, like ancillary to the book, man. And I love his aesthetic, everything like that. So I'll give that a shout out, and of course I have my Twitter where I try to keep you guys with something new. Daily if I can, but every other day I think I can hit that.
Very cool.
Subscribe to Scott, man. He just put a chat there. If you can highlight that.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, of course. Sub to Scotsman TV. He's doing a lot of great stuff on his channel, including a great interactive coloring tutorial with a lot of great people on Sundays. So check that out. I dropped the link to your Twitter, Lucius, for everybody.
Thank you.
Indeed. And Gargoyle, anything you'd like to give us a shout?
If you like Vikings and Giants, buy Runes of Ragnite.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
indeed. And Lucius, I think you DM'd me about maybe doing some kind of show, Runes of Ragnan, like review, kind of thing. Yeah. I'd be down for that. Sure. Just let me know. And,
I'll have to get it set up. Just because I have a cut rate thing over here, so I have to get it set up in advance. But yeah, that'd be awesome to do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. Tomorrow we will be talking to Anthony Figueroa on the project God's Hand, but we will also be talking about the very important role of character development in your project. It's the characters that are really going to bring people into what you're doing. It's what's going to keep them engaged in your project. So that should be a great conversation. I want to thank my entire panel for being here. The chat, as always, you guys rock. Please sub to the channel if you haven't. Share it out if you can. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.